Rolling. Ready?
Ready.
I'll count down.
Okay. I'm tense too.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, wow. Woo, my ear is ringing.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's totally okay. Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with Gavin from the Slow-Mo Guys. There's so much to go over, Gavin.
I know.
I love your channel. I've always loved it. And over the last couple of years, we've gotten a chance to work together a couple times, which has just been, I've had a really fun time.
And you were the first person I saw doing slow-mo, really. So
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to ask you about that because, I specifically remember the day Scott Sorensen, my A camera, told me that you guys had started a YouTube channel, and we were so jealous because, full stop, chimping over the high-speed shot after we'd executed something was the most fun of making Mythbusters.
by far the most fun part of my job in the film industry too. Just everyone coming over and having a happy huddle around the screen. Like, oh, look what we just filmed.
So tell me about your origin story. Where does it begin?
Around the time I quit my job in a supermarket, I was stacking the veg. That's pretty good at the bananas.
Stacking the veg.
Yeah.
That sounds like a euphemism.
100% just bananas and fruit and stuff. But
More euphemism.
there was one guy in my town who had just moved on from high-speed film, like Photosonics cameras, big, beefy bad boys with film, 1,000-feet reels. And he'd got 2 Phantoms. And at the time, the only 2 Phantoms in the UK. And he...
Literally the only 2 versions of that camera on the island of
on the island
United
of Great
Kingdom.
Britain, yeah.
Okay.
And he just happened to live in my town. I'd heard about him. And I was really interested, to be honest, really interested in seeing things in a way that you can't see with your own eyes. Slow-mo being a big one of them. I had a VHS or a VCR that had the jog wheel on. So you could advance by frame, but it was like VHS. So it was all like...
No, it was awful,
Yeah.
but I did all my early prop research with that, doing
I loved it.
sketches while advancing one crappy frame to the next.
So it was a really good coincidental timing in that he wasn't from a digital world and I was pretty fluent in computers and stuff.
You're
so,
like a digital native.
Yeah, so he was able to teach me photography and, from a film background, and I was able to teach him the efficiencies of, files and, doing all the computer stuff that he was really struggling with.
So how old are you at this moment? In your early 20s?
2000, I would have been 18.
18, okay.
I think I first went on a film set at 17, which was, I think, a little bit too young to be on a film set because I'm there, I'm like trying to help him out with some of the stuff he doesn't know, but I don't want to make it seem like he doesn't know what he's doing. So I'm pretty young, being like,
That's a tricky needle to thread in the crucible of because a film set is a noisy, terrifying environment.
And it's just, a lot of people have been working together on hundreds and hundreds of shoots.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm the one who has the information and they don't want to listen to it.
What's the film?
What film was
What film were you? What was the first film whose set you were on?
I did pretty heavy work on Sherlock Holmes 2. I think the first film set I went on was Hot Fuzz, actually.
Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, where the police station at the end blows.
Yeah.
They used our camera as like a video assist for the high-speed film.
Oh, fast.
So we shot it side by side with a Phantom.
The cameras didn't have the resolution to be a cinema-level shot.
Right, that was before HD.
So they were just using it as video tap while they rented a giant, super high-speed film camera.
Yeah, I don't think they went that high. I think it was just a 120 FPS or something.
Okay.
And we just matched it, but we were able to play it back pretty immediately.
Yeah. Now, that's the same. We had that camera back in the beginning days of Mythbusters. And all I remember is the litany of waiting on high speed.
Yes.
The amount of time it took to upload that footage was like 45 minutes every single time.
You could download through gigabit Ethernet. And, when you're shooting high speed, like I can make this thing take 80,000 720p pictures every second, which is about 100 gigs per second of data. Back then it wasn't as bad.
Per second.
I think it was like 8 gigs per second. But still, downloading gigabit speed was just like, you would have to teach. If no one on set had used a Phantom before, you'd kind of have to ease them into it, being like, okay, we're going to take a lot of breaks today. But then they invented the Cinemag, which is this thing that sits inside.
I remember
like a
when that first
proprietary-
showed up.
yeah.
Super expensive, the first ones.
Unbelievably expensive. Even today, they're like, 5 figures for one of these.
Right.
And you
But
could
what
save,
this does is move data onto
Yes.
itself insanely
just
fast.
spews data through all these pins, and you could save what used to take half an hour in about 30 seconds.
We were doing a job together recently
Yeah.
where we were shooting high-speed shots and you were scrolling to the important part in seconds. And I was so jealous, having spent so much time just finding our shot in the noise.
Yeah.
Because you can click for a second and at 10,000 frames per second, it can take you a long time just to go find where stuff goes
I actually
on.
do. If we're shooting, so this one will go up to 1.75 million frames a second, but it's a very thin, slick
Oh, yeah,
image.
yeah.
Yeah. But when we're filming stuff like, if we're trying to film a spark or like an electrical arc, it's like maybe 10 frames amongst hundreds of millions of frames. So, well, not hundreds of, it would have been tens of millions
of frames.
Which, if you don't have the laptop connected, is a nightmare, because this thing, you'll move it and you'll be scrolling and it will jump on the timeline. But you know, sometimes when it's 80,000 frames a second, it's fine. If you've got, in the same amount of space, 1.75 million frames a second, it will jump like hundreds of thousands of frames back and forth. So you really do have to connect the laptop up to find what you just shot. Otherwise, you'll just be all day.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, so what will this shoot at the 4K resolution?
So this doesn't even do 4K.
It doesn't even
this
do
is
4K, okay.
So you can tell from the numbers actually on the Phantoms. So the first number of the 2 digits, this is a 7510. And what that means, 75 gigabits of throughput on a 1 megapixel sensor.
Okay.
So
1 megapixel sensor, that's pretty small, actually.
pretty small. So it's 1280 by 800, I think is the max resolution. And I just trim a little bit off to get to 720p.
And what will it shoot at that resolution?
82,000 frames a second, which is just shy, and I've told you this before, my favorite frame rate, because I play back all my slow-mo at 25 frames a second.
Right.
I'm just getting really nerdy with the numbers here. 90,000 frames a second, playback at 25, is a great frame rate because it slows down a second of real time to an hour of playback.
3,600. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What's funny to me is that the flagship camera for Phantom has always been about this big.
Yes.
We've been ignoring this little puppy here. What is this?
This is a relatively new camera. It's by a company called Freefly. It's called the Ember 2.5K. They also have an Ember 5K, but it doesn't shoot as fast. So this will shoot, the max resolution is 2560 by 1440.
Okay.
And it will do that at 2,000 frames a second.
2,000, that's like a super bread and butter speed.
Yeah, which is pretty much, it's a slightly improved spec as the Phantom Flex, which came out in 2011, which I used to use. Amazing. So it's like 12 years ago Phantom, but a fraction of the size and a fraction of the price.
And a fraction of the weight.
And a fraction of the weight.
That is a sweet
So I've been using this like on the end of a stick sometimes. I mean, I use it like a GoPro, honestly.
Yeah. I'm curious of all the stuff you've witnessed. What do you think the weirdest understanding of physics or the world you have gotten from high-speed camera?
I think shockwaves are the gnarliest looking thing in slow-mo. They look fake. It's just these giant warped domes of nothing.
Perfect spheres
moving equally through the frame. It's just like, how do we not ever see this with our eyes? Just instant. And bullet trails and, you know, the wake, the bow waves and all the stuff on bullets.
That the Matrix is totally correct about the distortion following something like a bullet.
Nailed it in the 90s.
Actually, a fun camera fact, because earlier off camera, we were talking about Muybridge. And one thing most people don't realize about Muybridge, who did those early studies of people moving, is that every frame is a separate wet plate camera. What I didn't know is that the fact that they were separate wet plate cameras was an inspiration for John Gaeta in designing and executing the bullet time rig.
Wow,
which
time
is
slice. Yeah.
Slicing time. Oh, here's another question for you. Is there anything you've caught on high speed that no one has caught before?
Oh, that's a great question.
I'm sure there's a couple.
I think there are some things where I've received emails being like, we've thought this was happening, but we've never seen it. There might have been one actually on, I filmed a pinball machine, and the flipper is moving so fast and decelerating so fast that the rubber that encases the flipper comes away from the plastic.
No.
Like this. And the people who made the machine were like, have you got like a really loose rubber? And then I showed them real-time footage and they're like, oh, so that's just happening on all pinball flippers?
And no one knew.
And I think it's a part of what makes you able to catch the ball easier. You know, when you can do like a, and the ball just dies. I think it's because the rubber sometimes will come up slightly and cup the ball and give it a little bit, it like extends the window of a live catch on a
That is
on
really
pinball.
cool.
But that was, I think, everyone who worked in pinball had never seen it.
That's really neat. You're substantively shifting a whole industry just a little bit. I know that one of the things we got that no one had ever gotten on camera, let alone high-speed camera, is a human breaking a wine glass with their voice.
Yep.
And Jamie Vandera, who is the incredible heavy metal vocalist who did this for us, he trained under someone who was able to do it through a focused plywood hole in a speaker, but Jamie was able to do it with just his voice. And the high-speed shot, to your point about the reaction time, that wine glass shatters and is moving out before he even clearly, his brain is like, something's happening in front of you. And only after it's moving does he move. It seems like he's way late to the party.
And I bet that even in your high-speed footage of that, one frame of crack, I bet.
Oh,
Like,
no, I think
already
you're
gone.
totally
Yeah.
right. Your guys' high-speed glass stuff is some of my all-time favorite. I was shocked at how quickly glass cracks propagate.
It's so interesting. And even though the cracks are like moving seemingly in random patterns, the front edge of the crack is always almost entirely equal, and it will always work out from the center of the thing.
No way.
So even though stuff's like, you can see like the overall average of where everything is the same as it goes out.
It's like a mechanical shock. It's a shock wave.
I can't wait for cameras to. I can still do this in like 20 years when we can just shoot 10 million frames.
When my
a second in
phone
4K.
will do 5,000 frames per second.
When I'm out of a job. Yeah.
Let's shoot something here in the cave.
Yeah. What do you want to shoot?
Well, okay. One thing I wanted to shoot, one of my favorite things we've ever shot, and maybe this is, I don't know how you'll feel about this, is Jamie smacking me across the face.
A classic.
It's so spectacular. The degree to which you can see the whole of my skin moving monolithically.
Yeah. Well, there's so many mediums. Like the first thing you typically see is a lovely shockwave across the skin, and then the bone moves, but the skin's hanging behind. So all the teeth will slide over. It's like it's just so loose and floppy in slow-mo.
All right, sir. We are set up, and
Sorry about all this.
No, dude, it's actually like a return to old school. I was just texting with one of my old Mythbuster producers, and she was like, "Oh my God, I miss all the lights." The thing that people don't realize, obviously cameras need light to make their exposures, and because the exposure time of high-speed cameras is incredibly small, they need a lot of light. All right, let's talk about the cameras we're filming this on.
Right, so we're at 2.5K resolution. So we're at 2,000 frames a second on the Ember. And over here, we're at 720p, but we're at 10 times the speed at 20,000 frames a second. And this level of light is fine for this camera at this speed and this camera at this speed.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's why that one's so much bigger.
Yes.
A much bigger sensor.
Bigger sensor, bigger pixels.
Right,
to gather more photons.
Amazing. Okay, I'm standing in my location. Where are you going to be for the smack?
Gonna probably be right here so I don't block this camera.
And a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I should point out that you're one of the last people I want to slap in the face. It feels wrong.
Pretend I owe you money.
Okay.
Do you want to mime it a couple times? Get comfortable. I'll start looking like that. Go ahead. And if my glasses come off, that's fine. Yeah. Are you all right with this? You're gonna.
Well, you owe me money, so.
Great.
All right, if we're ready, I'll roll this one. This one's on an end trigger.
Hearing aids out? I guess I'm at your disposal.
Okay. Rolling. Ready?
Ready.
I'll count down.
Okay. I'm tense too.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, wow. Woo, my ear is ringing.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's totally okay. Norm keeps thinking we need more takes, but I'm not sure you have it in you.
I think I just went. Oh no, here we go.
My question is, do I flinch as you come in, or was I really maintaining?
I feel like if I slapped you on 2 instead of 0, you would have been less like this flinch.
Oh, look, my head's tilting just a little bit, but eyes not squinting.
I can't believe you didn't. Yeah, you didn't flinch.
Oh, you got it under my glasses and everything.
Look, the bone under your nose is moving over, but you're.
Oh, yes, you can see it.
You just look like someone else.
What I love is that as your hand moves, my face will spring back into its normal formation. I like that. My glasses didn't fly off, so they come back down around. Oh, that's the, yeah.
Nice thumbnail.
That's a perfect. It's totally. Oh my gosh. And my head
It bounces back into place. That was great.
I want to try another one, but let's spritz me up so we get water flying off my face. And then I think 2 is great.
Two's a lot.
Just 2, Norm. Okay, we're about to go again.
Yep.
How you feeling?
I feel like I really rocked you in that first one. I was surprised. The sound shocked me.
It's not fun to do it, isn't it? No. It's really intense. I want to try it again, and I want to try a spritz so that water flies off my face.
Bit of moisture.
I also thought, let's just egg the pudding one more bit, and I'll go while you're smacking me, because that's all like.
We'll just have everything going on.
The raspberry is endlessly hilarious. Okay. Are we ready? All right. If everyone's ready, I'll spritz.
Spritz it up.
Okay, here we go. Oh.
It's a Saturday.
Does All right. Here we go. I'm glistening.
Okay. Everyone good? Daniel good?
Good.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome. You went a little lighter on that one.
I did.
Can
I'm
feel
sorry.
it.
I don't know. I'm panicked now. I'm all thrown.
I think we've got all the smacks we need. Oh, that was so much fun. Thank you. Thanks for smacking.
Thanks for having me.
It's the pull, 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 pull. It's very
like
Miyazaki.
a sputtering engine.
Dude, thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm sorry I slapped you twice, but we got some incredible footage.
All is forgiven. Come back soon. Let's play again.
Let's
this
do
is
it.
super, super fun. Thanks you guys for joining. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching that video. Are you as sick of the tosses to membership as I am? Good, because here's a brand new one that I recorded today, and it's nice and short. There are 3 tiers to Tested membership, and they all offer awesome stuff. Find out about it by clicking the join link below. We'll see you there.